So hello and welcome to the Expat Pod and welcome to the shorter quickfire questions version of the podcast. I'm joined by Gal, who's my most recent guest on the full episode. If you haven't already listened to it or watched it on YouTube, you'll see a link somewhere around my finger, which might help you navigate to that once you've finished this episode, of course. So Gal, this is essentially just 10 quick questions. There's not too much thinking involved. It's just a bit of fun, but hopefully it'll give people a flavour of your life abroad and how your journey could help them. So I'll start with my first question, which is always, where is your favourite place you've ever lived?
I want to say Paris, because this is where I live right now, and I really love it.
Anything particularly that stands out? Is it the boulangerie or, I guess, the Olympics right now? Any recency bias?
Definitely feel the luckiest person on earth having to be participating in the Olympics. So yeah, it made Paris outrank all the rest.
Incredible. I'm jealous I didn't get to go. My next question is, what's your favorite international food?
Whoa. I think I'm very into Indian food that I got to discover in London when I lived there, and it was just amazing.
It's very good. We didn't talk much about that, but it's very much part of the culture in the UK, going for a curry. Yeah, it's very, very good part of our society, which we've obviously had from amazing people who've come and brought the dishes over. What's your favourite international tradition?
A mix of traditions. I love celebrating different holidays and mixing them up. We tend to mix Christmas and Hanukkah, and we mix Passover. We put things together, and I don't know, I feel like it makes it funnier, lighter for me.
I guess it plays on your life living in Israel and France, then, I suppose, because it's both cultures combined.
And recently we decided to celebrate Thanksgiving. Who cares? We're not American. It looks fun. Why not?
Any reason to smile more, right? So it's great.
To be thankful.
What's your favourite thing about living abroad?
Meeting different people and discovering different ways of doing things and challenging myself.
That's very, very true. The people part is incredibly fun. I think you meet some great characters, whether they're good or bad. Definitely characters indeed. What's your best homesickness remedy?
A good playlist. So I put on some really good music, depending on my mood, either cheering me up or helping me to cry on. But something that is really bringing me back all those memories and is a nostalgia moment.
Are they songs from France or Israel, or are they just songs from the times? What's the genre of choice?
It depends on where I'm homesick to, because funny enough, I can be homesick for people I actually never been living in, but I feel homesick about them. I dealt with it was traveling to Australia, and sometimes I miss Australia as if it was my home, and Israel and London and Dublin and France. And so, yeah, it depending on what type of a homesick am I feeling at the moment, but it will be a good mix.
There's always a playlist for what you're feeling. What's the hardest thing about living abroad?
Living abroad.
There's an Uno reverse card of questions.
I would say the hardest thing is finding who you are in different places. You're not the same person. You have to grow, you have to deal, you have to adjust. And if you try to be exactly the same person as you are in one place, it might not work in another place. So you need to be flexible. And if you're not used to it, it can be hard.
That's a very, very valid point. Yeah, I think your routines you're used to will just be completely thrown out the water, which is quite difficult to maybe adjust to. What's the best phrase you've learned? Now, I guess you speak 3 languages. Maybe you haven't got a mother tongue, but in your travels when you're living abroad, is there a phrase which sticks out, which makes you smile or makes you go, "Oh, that's a very good way of saying a particular feeling or expression"?
That's a really good one. I'm trying to, because in every single language you have different things that makes me really, really laugh. But I think I'll say that a sentence that I said in 3 languages in the same, like I can say one word in in different languages, and it doesn't make sense, but it makes sense to me. These are the most preferred sentences I have. But then I have some, like, when you say merde in French, I find it hilarious. Like, it works for everything.
For me, it's putain, because it's food in Canadian, it's the president of Russia, and it's something else from French.
But the same way as when I first learned it's raining cats and dogs, and I was like, what? Okay.
Yeah. It does that to you. Languages, idioms
Idioms are amazing.
Particular one are quite funny. What's your best way of making new friends?
Hey, do you want to go for a beer? As simple as that.
Pretty efficient, I suppose, is the word to use. Or is it effective?
It took me years to realize that, but it's the easiest way.
You can dilute it into those, a short sentence, and that's, I guess, one of the great things that you've shared on the podcast in the main episode is your journey to getting to that sentence. So now you've moved back to Paris. What's the best thing to do in your new city or new home?
The Olympics. That was the best thing to do. But now that it's done, Paris, just having this sense of how lucky I am to walk streets that exist for so many years and so much history. And I feel like I feel really lucky to be living here.
Yeah, I've visited quite a few times, and it's beautiful. One of my best friends lives in Paris as well. And I'm very jealous when we talk and he's like just doing all this stuff. I'm not. And then my last question, which I'm sure you're very well positioned to answer this question, is what's your best expat life hack?
Actually, language. As a hack, I would say technology today is really amazing. Get help, either by installing different keyboards on your phone. This is how I improved my French very much in the last 4 years, because I installed a French keyboard. So it corrects my mistakes. And I'm like, oh my God, that's how you write it? So much easier. Or use ChatGPT to rewrite your emails, or just use technology to be of help until you figure out how you do this on your own. But it's really helpful.
On the topic of technology, another hack would be downloading an app called Sila, right?
Well, I didn't want to promote myself that much, but yes, definitely go and download our app. This is what's going to simplify your life abroad.
So, well, what a great way of finishing the podcast. And again, thank you so much for your time and your time on the full episode. If you haven't listened or watched, do go and learn more about Gal's experiences of life abroad and her amazing journey, both physically and emotionally through life. As always, we'll see you next time for the Expat Pod.